Hi there. Have you ever thought about the similarities between the human body and how a computer works? Have you ever thought about when a computer is asked to do something, it's all written in code. And that code is what allows the computer to know how to react with its environment, what it should be doing, what task to complete. It's interesting because our human body is very similar to this. And our code is the food that we eat and the environment that we're in, our light sources and the exposure to light. Those are all code that tell our bodies what they need to do next. What is the next task that should be completed? And I want to specifically talk about nutrition and food as code. Because if you think about it, and when we were developing, as we were evolving as humans, we evolved outside. And I know I've talked about this before, and you've heard me say these kinds of things before, but it is really important to understand that how we evolved is how we became our best selves. We evolved to survive, and we evolved during the environment when we were actually living outdoors, where we were barefoot, where we were hunters and gatherers, where we were sleeping at night and awake during the day, where we hunted for our uh, for prey, for our protein, for our meat, and where we were isolated to the area that we lived. And so we had to use the food that was available in our environment at the time. And you have to, so if you think about that, then you understand that the vegetables and fruits and animals that were present in the environment in which we evolved are what told our bodies where we were, right? And what time of year it is. And so if we are living, for instance, right now in Michigan, where I am currently, there's a couple of inches of snow on the ground and it's 20 some degrees outside and the sun is shining today, which is lovely because that doesn't always happen in a Michigan winter day. And it's quite beautiful and the birds are out singing. And when I go outside and I think about if I didn't have a grocery store or a Whole Foods or a market that I could order my food to even come to my house and be delivered, which is what happens, right, in this day and age. If I didn't have all of that and I didn't have a refrigerator full of food and I didn't have a pantry, then what would I eat in a Michigan winter? What would I eat? And when you start asking those questions, you realize that you wouldn't be eating bananas because, first of all, bananas don't grow in Michigan, right? So when you're eating a banana and you're living in Michigan, what is the code that you're feeding your body and how is it incongruent with your surroundings and your environment? And how might that confuse your body, right, from a nutrient standpoint? And when we talk about insulin resistance and we talk about mitochondria, our mitochondria are very in tune with what our environment and our circadian rhythm is supposed to be. And the mitochondria, if you're unfamiliar, the mitochondria are organelles that are in each and every cell of our body. And they participate in creating energy for the cell to use to function. And so when our mitochondria are working well, then we have more cellular energy and we have more overall energy and vitality, and our bodies work better. When our mitochondria are burdened or they're not working well or they are not working at all, that's when you have disease, or when you have illness, or you start to have that decrease in wellness as you head into illness. And so mitochondrial function is really important to cellular function and to cellular health. And because we're essentially a giant colony of cells, if our cells aren't healthy, we aren't healthy. So it becomes very important to make sure that we are telling ourselves what we should be telling ourselves and feeding ourselves and our cells the food that we should be eating. And so it becomes important to understand some of the physiology behind it. When we are near the equator, and it is 80 to 90 degrees out. And even in the winter, when we are near the equator, we still have fruits and vegetables that are completely different than what might grow in Michigan. And those fruits and vegetables, when eaten, um, are utilized by the body well when we're in that type of environment. But if you take those mangoes and bananas and really high sugar, so think about it, there's a lot of sugar and there's a lot of water in those fruits. And the reason for that is because you need more water. You need more water in the summers, and the sugars are burned off quickly, in part because you're in the sunshine, and and that increases your metabolism. The light from the sun we actually can use the same way plants use, um, is in a type of photosynthesis in our cells, in our mitochondria. Our mitochondria actually help us to utilize the sun's energy across our skin and in our cells. And so you start to see the picture, right? When you start to think about all these things, you start to see the picture. And you start to understand then, if you're eating incorrect foods in the winter in Michigan, that your body might put on some more weight because now you're feeding it a lot of sugar that it's not metabolizing well. And so I tend to try to do a more low carbohydrate dense diet during the winter months so that I'm not adding on weight during the winter months that I don't need. I'm not hibernating, so I don't really need all that extra weight, right? On the other hand, if I were hibernating, it would be a totally different story. um, so you start to understand now, and the light. So when you are exposed to light at the time that you wake up, and the light in the morning sky is completely different than the light in the middle of the day, which is different again than the light at the end of the day. And that is all code that our bodies take in across our skin and use to know we use that light as energy, and we use that light to know when we should be releasing certain hormones through the cycle of our day. And as those different hormones are released, it impacts our energy during the day and our ability to sleep at night. So when we start using false lighting, heavy blue light dominant lights on the inside of our homes, or after sunset, we have bright lights on in the house, or we're sitting in front of screens after sunset that have a dominant blue light that should not be present. Blue light tells our brains that we need to be awake because during the daytime, there's more blue light in the middle of the day. So you start to see how the similarities, what the similarities are between our bodies and computers, and how the code is different. How we take that code in is different, but the concept is really very similar. And so when you start to learn what you should have, what we evolved doing, and you take that and you try to apply it to today's lifestyle and standards, then we are using lifestyle to improve our health. And that's really some of the basis of lifestyle medicine, right? Is nutrition and nutrients and what we're eating and drinking, and what we're taking in, and how we're sleeping, and how we do energy-wise during the day when we're awake. These are all parts of lifestyle medicine, which is a very powerful wellness medicine. And we all know that when we do the right things in our lives, we're healthier. And when we make bad choices, we are less healthy. Like, we've known that since we were kids. Our parents told us that, make healthy choices, right? How many of you heard that, something like that? Or eat your green beans, or, you need your vegetables and things like that. I mean, that's all good advice. And we've always known that our lifestyle impacts our health. But when we're sick, for some reason, and I could go into why the reason is, but it's unnecessary at this point. For some reason, we just don't think about, well, what could I change that would lessen my being sick or improve the symptoms that I have as I'm sick, and maybe then I become less sick. And so if you're progressing towards illness in the same way because you're making bad choices. So if you're progressing towards illness because you're making bad choices, doesn't it stand to reason that if you start making good choices, you'll come back to wellness? Yes, it does make sense. It makes sense. And not only does it make sense, it works and it happens. And I see it every day. And it's part of the process that I use in functional medicine, in addition to looking at scientific evidence of what is happening in a person's body and collaborating with that person to come up with a plan on how we can maximize the body systems to improve their health and wellness and to decrease their symptoms of whatever it is that's bothering them, and overall to increase their vitality, their energy, and their health so that they can live healthier lives. One of the things we always talk about is what we should be eating and how we should be living and how, but I don't think I've ever discussed it in the terms of computer code, but really it is very much like that. And so I thought that might be something that would resonate with you. It might be something that would make sense to you if I explain that. And so I wanted to share that with you guys. My name is Dr. Christina Campbell. I'm the founder of the Institute for Functional Regenerative Medicine, and I am passionate about helping people find wellness through natural methods as often as possible, and helping people to live healthier, more vital lives. If anything that I've said in this video interests you, or something I've said makes you think you would like to talk about some things that are going on with you, if you're interested in learning about what might be an underlying root cause of some things going on with you, you can set up a free call with me. I would love to help you. I will, if you're interested, I will even leave a link down below where you can sign up for a free questionnaire to give you an idea that you can fill out that will give you an idea of where you stand in your health today and give you an idea of some things that might be parts of the root cause. And I'm happy to allow you then to set up a call with me and we can review that questionnaire. We can go over it and I can make some suggestions on some things that might be helpful for you to improve those areas of your life and to help you feel better. So I hope that you will take me up on this offer. I am passionate about helping as many people as I can day by day, one person at a time, improving the lives of those who come into my program, come into my life, and are willing to share with me and ask for help. So please don't be shy. Ask for help. Please give me a call. I look forward to hearing from you. Have a great day.